that will see you through all the trials that life can offer. Have courage and be kind.
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. Alonzo, Christy, and Ben with you. 4 movies to get to this week. We'll begin with the big release, Cinderella, the Kenneth Branagh movie. Didn't see it, but you kids did.
Cinderella. This is live action Cinderella. Perhaps you've heard of this. There's a girl who toils away named Cinderella. Then magically there's a fairy godmother and a shoe and a ball and a prince, and good things eventually happen to her. Spoiler, take a look.
She'll merely be your stepmother, and you'll have 2 lovely sisters to keep you company. So I'll know, as far away as I may be, that you'll be safe.
Wouldn't you prefer to eat when all the work is done, Ella?
Yes, stepmother. Oh, you needn't call me that. Madam will do.
Cinderwench. Dirty Ella. Cinderella.
Ella, you have more kindness in your little finger than most people possess in their whole body.
It was my mother's old dress.
It would be an insult to take you to the palace dressed in these old rags.
You shall not go to the ball.
Excuse me. Why are you crying?
Who are you?
That's better. My fairy godmother.
Now, where are these mice?
They're made of glass.
And you find they're really comfortable.
Now off you go.
For you shall go to the ball.
They're all looking at you.
Believe me, they're all looking at you.
But you liked it.
It's beautiful.
It is
so
it is sumptuous for
Yes.
sure. I can take nothing away from that. It's weird. Okay, you know the rule they always tell you is, you know, don't review the movie they didn't make, review the movie they made. And I can't help thinking of the movie they didn't make in this case, because I feel like this whole thing we're getting now, the live action versions of the Disney movies, is a way to sort of revisit familiar material and maybe put a new spin on it, or think about it in a different way. I didn't completely love Maleficent, but I liked the idea of, let's take this character who's always just sort of been capitally evil and maybe dig into that a little and find out what that's about and maybe what's her side of the story. And so I thought, well, you know what, let's find out what's going on with the evil stepmother. But she's pretty much just evil.
Well, they give her a backstory. They give her an explanation as to why she's evil. And because Cate Blanchett plays her, she is fantastic. And she's not just purely capital E evil. Like, there's more to her. There is shading. She gets amazing costumes.
Well, no, absolutely. And yeah, they flirt with the idea of talking about, you know, here, you know, she's a woman, she's got 2 daughters, and obviously a society where it's important that she marry the daughters off well, and da-da-da. Which I would have totally related to more from her had she not swept into the movie already being kind of decadent and gross and awful. I mean, from the moment that she arrives, they're like snotty about the house and they're throwing the big gambling parties, and she's barely paying attention to Cinderella's father and being all flirty and da-da-da-da. And so it's like, if she had actually been kind of a decent person and then was driven to being exploitative because she needed to marry off the daughters, I don't know. And again,
she's driven by economic desperation. I mean,
but again, I think if they'd let her get there without bringing her in as already terrible, then that would have been an arc.
You want the evil stepmother movie. You don't want Cinderella.
I guess.
This
No,
is what you're looking for.
you're right. No,
like,
okay.
Like instead of Sleeping Beauty, we have the Maleficent story. You want the evil story.
I think you could have worked that in and still told the Cinderella story. Anyway, that's the movie they didn't make, so I'll shut up about that. The movie they did make is lovely. I grant you. It's gorgeously produced. You know, when the big ball happens, they do that thing like in old Technicolor movies where all the dresses are like every shade of the rainbow. You know, although of course they have to sort of do that post-production baking that every movie has now, where the colors are all, they look like Jolly Ranchers, you know, and all the orange and the blue gets popped up. But it's beautifully done. I really liked Helena Bonham Carter's bit as the fairy godmother.
Kenneth Branagh's ex, Helena Bonham
Yes,
Carter.
definitely.
See, here's what I appreciate, kind of the earnestness of it, right? Because so many of these re-envisionings of fairy tales, they become ass-kicking princesses.
Sure, nobody gives her a
Cinderella-
sword. I'll give her that.
Cinderella
Yeah.
does not become an ass-kicking princess, and I almost feel like that is subversive in its own way. The fact that they play it so straight. I mean, they give her more personality.
Sure.
You know, she
She's
has
not
a
saccharine,
backbone. She
yeah.
has a backbone. I mean, she's kind of little forest creatures, as she always is, but she also stands up for herself when she finally needs to.
Sure.
Lily James is quite lovely, and I just
You
feel
don't
like
watch Downton Abbey, right?
I don't watch Downton Abbey. So
What?
who is she? I know. I have a child.
She's Lady Rose.
Please.
So who is Lady Rose?
Nicholas would love that.
Sure.
Lady Rose.
He'd be like, Thomas!
Lady Rose
Why
is
are they
kind
talking
of the
about it?
cousin Oliver of Downton Abbey. It's like as the daughter started getting older and married off, they had to bring in the hot young one.
Okay.
But she's interesting. She just married a Jew. It's all very scandalous. It's lovely.
You know what?
And Daisy, who is the downstairs maid, who is now or downstairs cook, who is coming into her own and getting an education, plays one of the wicked
She's
stepsisters.
Drizella, right?
I think so, but she's very funny.
Anastasia and/or Drizella.
She's one of those sisters,
Yes.
but she's quite funny in it.
No, I appreciate from a production standpoint, from just like the lavishness of it, from the attention to detail, these things that you have seen before are still dazzling because they are made with such craftsmanship and with such attention to detail and color and energy. It's paced beautifully. You know that midnight mad dash to
Sure.
get out of the palace is going to happen, and it is like jaw-dropping. It is thrilling. It is so beautiful and so well done.
And they give the prince a moment to get to know her before the ball happens, so it's not just this like you're pretty, you're a prince. Like they actually have a thing going,
Also,
a
the ball is
connection.
surprisingly multi-culti.
True, that's
More so than you've seen
That's
before.
kind
Is
of
that
a
a
modern.
thing?
That's a modern Disney
that a thing
spin of
people
late,
say?
I think.
Yeah.
Multicultural.
It is.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly comparatively compared to the very, very white incarnations of all of these
Well,
fairy
the cartoons,
tales.
sure. Now,
Right.
okay, tell me about what you thought of this as far as translating it from cartoon to live action. In the cartoon, when she's friends with the mice, they talk, they sing, they wear little vests and all, and it's adorable. In this movie, they're just mice. And when she's like talking to them in the kitchen and giving them dinner, all I could think is, you're hanging out with vermin. Am I awful, or did you think about that at
So
all?
I love that this is what took you out of the movie. Whether or not the mice have personalities.
Well,
like this bothers you that they're not developed.
If you're not going to have if you're not going to have personalities on the mice, fine. But if you're going to still have her talk and hang out with the mice, she's now talking and hanging out with just plain old mice.
She loves all of God's creatures. It's part of her personality. No, I thought this was really beautiful. No, it does not do anything terribly new, but maybe looking at it from an adult perspective, I viewed it more as a coming of age story than I ever had before. I mean, to me, she always seemed super innocent, super one note. I would say that there is an actual arc to her as she finds her voice, as she finds her backbone, and as she falls in love. She grows up.
I think that's putting too fine a point on it, but I'll grant you that there is some character development. It's not just the usual sort of Job story we get.
There's some depth to her, I would say.
Yeah, no, this movie is fine. It is handsomely mounted, and if you want to go and get a straightforward Cinderella, you are going to get a straightforward Cinderella, well acted, well art directed. I guess I've just coming off of Maleficent and like Into the Woods and stuff. I was thinking, all right, what do you have to tell me in 2015 about Cinderella that I haven't heard a million times before? And
It's pretty straightforward.
This movie isn't giving me that, but that's okay.
And little girls will love it.
Totally.
My kid did not love it. He thought it was boring. But
Well,
the little girl we brought with us totally dug it.
The
and had
Disney
fun.
Princess Industrial Complex will get to sell a whole new line of gowns. They'll be thrilled about that.
Although, you know what? I know like grown-ass people, like moms, who are legitimately excited about this as a nostalgic tug to their own childhood when Cinderella was their girly hero. So drunk moms are going to go to matinees.
now they've all seen 50 Shades of Grey.
Right.
I kind of wish they
They're
had.
just making up for that.
I kind of wish that they had maybe dragged in some of the songs from Cinderella,
There's no
but
sign. Although,
no,
when Helena Bonham Carter changes things, she goes bibbity bobbity boo, bibbity bobbity boo.
Right.
So there is that.
There's
but
there's a shout out,
they don't
but
do
like
the song,
because
Do you think
because
that gets scripted, or do you think that's Helena Bonham Carter?
she probably just says that on a daily
around the
basis.
house.
Somebody's
Yeah.
like,
There are how many bees in this? All right, so I liked it. I am giving it apparently a lower score than you are.
Really?
I gave it.
How does that work?
seemed like how that
Yeah, well then
conversation
I'm
went.
going to join you at 7.5. Are you saying 7.5?
Yeah, I'm saying
still?
7.5.
Then I'll
I mean,
join you
it
there.
is.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that I can fault with this except for what they decided not to do. So that's on me. But as far as what they actually did, they do it just fine.
It's very pretty. It is at 82% on the tomato meter. Matt Atchity is at South by Southwest this week, by the way.
But I'm wearing the Rotten Tomatoes shirt
Oh,
for him.
that's nice of you. I just noticed
nice,
that.
yeah.
All right, so it's really cute. Go see it. Thanks. Bye.